How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the Talk Sports Show with Alec Pecano. Yes, I know I was supposed to be on Wednesday, but I will explain why at the end of the show. I'm on tonight instead of Wednesday. But anyway, let's get right into what we are talking about today. Today on the show, I will be covering my NBA upset picks for tomorrow, college basketball upset picks for tomorrow, conference updates for the ASUN, the AAC, and Big Ten. Here's the first segment. We're going to talk about my NBA upset picks for tomorrow night. So, my first upset pick for tomorrow in the NBA is the Dallas Mavericks plus 13.5 to upset the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, some of you guys might say that I'm a little wonky for picking Minnesota to lose and get upset by Dallas, by the Mavericks. But I don't think I'm that crazy. I think that, let's just say, I think the Mavericks can upset the T-Wolves. My second upset is the Houston Rockets plus 2.5 to upset the New Orleans Pelicans. This one seems a lot more logical to happen. I think it does. Because I think Houston, I watched a lot of NBA games and a lot of college basketball. And I've seen over the last few weeks, the Rockets have been playing some kind of good basketball, even though they've been losing. I think here is where they get a dub. I think they catch a W against the Pelicans tomorrow night. And then the big game of the night and NBA tomorrow night. And it's the Talk Sports game of the week for the NBA. The Denver Nuggets plus 1.5 to upset the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, for those of you that don't know, Jokic is one of my favorite players in the NBA. And I don't normally bet against the Nuggets. I've only bet against them twice. And I'm 1-1. Now I'm using them as an upset pick, and I think it can work. That is why I have them pulling the upset here. Now I'm going to give you an update on the ASUN Conference. So here's the ASUN Conference. And as you notice at the top three are Eastern Kentucky, Stetson, and North Florida. Let me go over the top three. So Eastern Kentucky, they started out the year 4-9. And as you saw when I did this earlier in the year, I had them trending. I believe I had them trending down because I didn't think that they were going to turn it around like this and be undefeated in conference play after beating UNF last week. Now, the second team I'm going to talk about is I'm going to give the three top teams that are trending up. I'm going to go over them twice. And the second time I go over them, you will get one positive thing about them and one thing I still think they need to work on. So Stetson, of course, they're a veteran-led team like UNF is kind of. But Stetson, they shoot the three. They shoot the three kind of well, and they've won 2 games in a row. And then in third is North Florida. Now, I saw this coming from UNF in the offseason. I'm kind of an insider with UNF in a way because I'm a graduate at UNF and I still keep in touch with some of their coaches from their men's basketball team, obviously. And they tell me stories of, they give me stats and they give me insider information on stuff to talk about. And I like how they've been doing it. Now at the bottom, let's look at the bottom of the ASUN. Queens, Bellarmine, and JU. Now for JU, I'm surprised they're dead last in the Atlantic Sun. They're not normally this bad. They are normally better than this. I think this is just a down. I'm not going to say rebuilding year. I think this is a retooling year for JU in a way. I think they can be back at the top of the ASUN next year, maybe 2 or 3. Bellarmine, Bellarmine's kind of tough to explain because they're still relatively new to the ASUN. They've only been in the ASUN for 2 years. But from all I've heard, they're having a struggle year because they have a lot of injuries. A ton. They have a ton of injuries. And they are struggling to stay healthy. And in Queens, I do like the way Queens is going. They are trending the opposite way of Bellarmine and JU. They're trending up. I think they do have a chance to win a couple more conference games. Now we're going to flip it back around to the top. Eastern Kentucky. To say, like I said a minute ago, to say I saw this coming from EKU is an understatement and a half. Like I said, they started 4-9, and I had them on the downward trajectory. And look what they've done. They're 11-9, 7-0 in the ASUN. I like how they shoot the ball. I watched their game against North Florida on Saturday last week. They shot the lights out of the ball. They shoot really, really well. Stetson, the same thing. And the other thing with Eastern Kentucky is they really rebound well. And I've seen the same thing with Stetson. And Stetson gets to the free-throw line a lot. That's the one thing that really scares me about Stetson is when they get into the ASUN tournament, the top 3 seeds get a home game in the ASUN tournament. So say if it ended today, that would be UNF, Stetson, and EKU. They all get home games. It's the top 4 seeds. The top 4 seeds get home games. So that would be EKU, Stetson, UNF, Central Arkansas, Kennesaw State. They would all get a home game in the first round of the ASUN tournament. North Florida. I like how they rebound. I like how they rebound the ball and they pass. And if you watch any of their games like I do, because that's one of the conferences I intently cover since I was a alumni of North Florida. And I like how they pass the ball and they look for the open shot. If the shot's not open, they pass it up for a better shot. And they are the king of three-pointers, UNF. They lead the country in three-point attempts per game. Oh, wait. We got to go back to this. Now, here's my free play of the night. And college in the NBA for tomorrow. So my free play of the night in the NBA tomorrow is The Orlando Magic -5 to cover and win against the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are one of the worst teams in the NBA. Don't get me wrong, Wembanyama is going to be really good, but they just need to get a core around Wemby. But I think the Magic cover and win here against the Spurs. Now, segment number 2. She's right there. Segment number 2, my college basketball upset picks for tomorrow night. My first one is Jacksonville +1 to upset Austin Peay. Austin Peay, as you saw when I was doing the rankings for the standings for the ASUN, they're middle of the pack in the ASUN. They're not top, they're not bottom. They're in the middle. They're in that glob of the ASUN. And if you're enjoying the video, please leave a thumbs up. And don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below and debate me on these upset picks or the conference updates I do. Anyway, I think Jacksonville will upset Austin Peay here and get their second win in conference play. Because this game is at JU before Austin Peay goes home and plays North Florida on Saturday. And programming note, I will be doing play-by-play for that game on Saturday at 5:15. My second upset in college basketball tomorrow night is St. John's +1 to upset Xavier. Big East game, I think Xavier gets upset by St. John's. My third upset tomorrow night in college basketball is UAB +7 to upset North Texas. So this is basically a touchdown. I think North Texas will get upset by UAB. I really like how UAB has played in conference. They steamrolled USF when they played them a couple weeks, the second week of conference play. My fourth upset is Boise State +9.5 to upset New Mexico. Now, this is a risk. This is a risky upset pick, in my opinion. I think that this upset could happen, but I also think New Mexico could end up covering. My fifth upset is Missouri State +6.5 to upset Southern Illinois. Now, these two teams on paper match up really well, but I think it's the matter of, can Missouri State hit more three-pointers than Southern Illinois? And my last upset, and I have not put this team on upset alert since they got beat by USF 2 weeks ago. It is Rice, and this is a big point spread. So I would watch where this point spread goes. If you can get it lower than 14.5, if it goes down to 13.5 or 12.5, I would take it all day. I've got Rice +14.5 to upset Memphis. Now, you may say, why are you putting Memphis on upset alert? They don't got enough. They got enough guys that are good ball handlers, but they can't consistently make threes. They make like 2 or 3 in a row, and then they miss the next 3. Then they go on a little spurt, 2 or 3 in a row again, and then they miss 2 or 3 in a row. So it's really the fact, can they make consistent threes? And then my 3 cover picks for college basketball tomorrow night is South Florida +1.5 to cover against ECU and win. Keyword being and win. I like ECU, but I don't think they're that good, honestly. And if you if you disagree with me, you can put your thoughts down in the comment section below. But I like USF plus 1.5 here to ups to cover the spread and win against ECU. My second cover pick is Rhode Island plus 3 to cut -3 correction to cover against LaSalle. Rhode Island just missed out on being in my top 25 this past week. Maybe next week they can make it. Do they? We'll see. And my last one is Auburn -19 to cover against Vanderbilt. This is self-explanatory. This is a big point spread. I still think Auburn covers and wins. If they lose and cover, it's a different story. But I still think they cover. And my free play of the night in college basketball is the over Kentucky versus Florida 171. The over in the Kentucky Florida game, which right now the over under is 171 points. I would wait till tomorrow and see if if it goes up or down. If it goes up, no matter what, I'm still taking the over in the Kentucky Florida basketball game. And if you're feeling risky and gutsy, I would even take. Right now, the spread is 5.5. Kentucky's favored by 5.5. I would take, if you're feeling the need to be gutsy, I would take Florida plus 5.5 to cover. Now let's pull up the AAC conference standings and tell you hold up, I did not say that. I said AAC. There we go. So, the 3 teams at the top of the AAC right now: Charlotte, FAU, South Florida. Charlotte, I'm going to say this. I had no idea that they were going to be this good. Absolutely zero. Absolutely zero idea that Charlotte was going to be this good. FAU, I knew they were going to be good. It's just a question of how good were they going to be in the AAC in basketball. In South Florida, I had that sneaky suspicion in the preseason that they were going to be really good this year in basketball because they got Amir Abdul-Rahim. Coach Rahim is really good. Now, here's the 3 things for the two keys from these top 3 teams that I think are good. Charlotte, I think they defend really well. I watched their game the other night. They are really good at defending. They hold you to under 80 points. That's their margin. It's under 80 points per game. Oh, wait. Let me get that back up. So, and let's go back into here. Okay, so Charlotte, like I was saying, they defend really well. They defend really well and they shoot the ball really well. Florida Atlantic. I'm going to give you one positive thing about FAU and one negative thing. One negative thing is they don't know how to keep the one knock I have on FAU right now is they can't, when they get a lead, they can't keep it. And there's been 2 or 3 times in the last 2 weeks that they've almost gotten upset. And in one instance, they did get upset, I believe. It was a couple of weeks ago. And they almost got upset a week and a half ago against Charlotte, I believe. It was either Charlotte or it was somebody else, maybe Rice. And I think FAU, they need to do a better job at defending leads. One positive is they have a lot of good upperclassmen that are good teachers to the underclassmen, the freshmen and sophomores. South Florida, they're they're two goods. They don't get a negative, they get two positives. I like how the new guys have been playing for South Florida this year for their basketball team. I really like it. Brandon Stroud's played really good. Jose Placer is playing really well, even though he was injured when I went and saw them play. But I like how they played, and they shoot the three-pointer really good. And then at the bottom, you got Temple, Rice, and Wichita State. Temple, I kind of knew this was coming with Temple. They're not, ever since the Big 12, the Big East dissolved for every sport when Temple was in it. They've been competitive, but as you see by their record, they haven't been able to win games. Rice, first year in the AAC, they are trying to learn the ropes of being in a new conference. Wichita State, I'm surprised they're this far down in the AAC. I think they should be a lot higher. And in the Big Ten is the last conference. Oh, I need to get that back up. So the Big Ten. Wisconsin, Purdue, Illinois. All right, the top three. Wisconsin, I like head coach Greg Gard and how he's developing his players. I think they can make a deep run in the tournament. Purdue's at number 2. Zach Edey is one of the best players in college basketball. Again, Zach Edey is one of the best players in college basketball. And Matt Painter is a really, really good head coach. And Illinois, Terrence Shannon is one of the best players in college basketball. One. And you got Rutgers, Michigan, Ohio State at the bottom of the conference. Michigan, I'm actually really surprised they're this far down in the Big Ten. It shocks me that Michigan's this bad in basketball. Normally, they're competing for conference titles in basketball. Rutgers, same thing. Normally, they're around the middle of the pack in the Big Ten. It's surprising to see them down this far. And my other favorite team, Ohio State. I'm going to say this about Ohio State. Chris Holtmann needs to go. They need to fire Chris Holtmann. He is the issue. Get somebody new in there. I understand Ross Bjork is our new athletic director at Ohio State. Ross Bjork, if you're watching this video, Ohio State fans, send this video to Ross Bjork on Twitter or whatever social media you have and tell him to get rid of Chris Holtmann. Because Ohio State has been pretty good in basketball the last couple years. And now all of a sudden, once our big players leave, we are absolutely atrocious in basketball. And I don't understand why. So again, that's Michigan, Rutgers, Ohio State at the bottom. Wisconsin, Purdue, Illinois at the top. Oh, I gave that so. And then, so my schedule update, if you haven't heard for YouTube, my schedule is going back to what it used to be. Mondays at 11 a.m., Tuesdays at 11 a.m., nothing on Wednesday to prepare for Thursday and Friday shows, which, if you haven't heard, the college basketball show with yours truly hosting it will be premiering Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time in everywhere that is in the Eastern time zone. If you're in a different time zone, it depends on your time. But that will be debuting Thursday at 2 p.m. And going forward, my schedule will be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for streaming for YouTube. And with the occasional, like this Saturday, we are doing play-by-play of a college basketball game. And then once college football season starts, we will most likely be doing a play-by-play for a couple college football games. One of them maybe being Alabama and South Florida. But, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for the Talk Sports Show tonight. Alec Pecado signing up. I will see y'all on Thursday afternoon. Have a great evening.